Hey y'all, I'm Sasha, aka The Polished Potter, and I'm a small batch ceramicist based in LA and the owner of Wild Heart Ceramics. Today, I'm at Makers and Clay Studio because I'm going to show you how I throw with nails. One thing you should know about me, my nails stay done. If my nails are not done, please check on me because it means that I'm probably not okay. When I searched for tutorials on how to throw with nails, I could only find a couple quick demos and the advice was really high level, but I was determined to make this work. My nail tech and I have been together for almost a decade, and we were not about to break up just because I picked up a new hobby. You can keep your nails and still make beautiful pots. It just takes practice and a few tools. The first thing you'll need is a thin sponge. If you're taking your first wheel class, more than likely you're going to have one of these standard issue yellow pottery sponges. This is also the sponge that comes in a lot of beginner pottery tool sets. But if you're throwing with nails, I really recommend using something that is much thinner. I use these thin finishing sponges. They're very flexible and they reduce the amount of material between my fingers and the clay. Also, they hold just the right amount of water, so my clay is always hydrated without being oversaturated. The second thing I'd recommend are gel finger protectors. These are gonna be less important if you're just doing pottery as a one-time thing. But if you plan on doing this as a hobby or a hustle, I would really encourage you to grab yourself a set of these. I usually keep my nails in a stiletto or almond shape, so I wear these on the index and middle fingers of my non-dominant hand, and it basically just keeps my nails from shredding my interior walls. On to the good stuff. If you're taking your first pottery class, you're more than likely going to be focused on a few fundamentals: centering, drilling down and opening, and pulling up your walls. Centering is not going to be a huge issue with nails, mainly because you're using a different part of your hand, your palm versus your fingers. So once our clay is nice and centered, we are going to drill down. I like to take a wet sponge and wrap it around the index finger of my dominant hand like a taco. You also want to make sure that you're leaving enough room at the tip of the sponge so that it covers your nail when you press down on the clay. I like to do this with my wheel going full speed. I'm going to take my non-dominant hand and rest it gently on the wheel head, and then I'm going to take that finger taco, run it along the top of my clay until I reach the center, and then I'm just going to press straight down. Drill down until there's about a 1/4 inch of clay left at the bottom. Make sure that your sponge is well hydrated to reduce any friction, because the last thing you want to do with this step is knock your clay off center. That looks great. Now let's open her up. I'm going to wet my sponge, go back to that trusty finger taco, and place it inside the hole, resting along that 1/4 inch bottom. I'm just gonna drag my hand back toward my belly button. Once I've got my desired circumference, I'm going to take a sponge, remove any of that standing water from the opening, and then just take my thumb and run it along the inside of my clay a few times to compress the base of my piece. You can also use a rib or a dry sponge to do this, but the goal here is to make sure that you're compressing the clay particles down so the inside base is nice and even and it doesn't crack while it's drying or when you fire your piece in the kiln. Now, the fun part, pulling your walls. This was the part that I found to be the most difficult to do with nails, and it took a lot of trial and error, mainly error, to get this right. So I'm going to reduce my wheel speed to about 75%. With my dominant hand, I'm going to make a knuckle with my index finger and wrap a wet sponge around that knuckle. Then I'm going to take my index and middle finger on my non-dominant hand and just gently rest them on the inside at an angle so your finger pads are touching this interior wall. Then we're going to take our sponge knuckle, place it along the exterior base of our clay, and just scoop up and inward. I like to think of this like I'm trying to scoop the clay on this outside base into my fingers on the inside. And you're just going to apply a gentle, consistent pressure as you move that clay and your fingers upwards. You want to make sure that both of your hands are moving at the same speed and you're using enough pressure to move the clay, but not so much that you're compressing the clay between your fingers. And once I get to the top here, I'm just gonna compress my rim. Honestly, I recommend doing this after almost every single pull because your rim is really what's holding this wall together. It's providing that stability, and as you pull higher, you really want to make sure that it's well compressed and it isn't thin or uneven. And a good piece of advice that I got about pulling walls is to pull towards your opposite shoulder. It just helps to keep your walls angling inward so you get this nice volcanic shape as you pull higher. In the beginning stages of pottery, it's really easy to make a lot of unintentional bowls. But a good goal when you're starting out should just be to try and make cylinders consistently. For those of you that play instruments, I like to think of cylinders like the scales of pottery. Learning how to make them and making them consistently will do a lot to help improve your confidence on the wheel. And now, finally, everyone's favorite part, the cleanup. Just like we clean our tools, we clean our nails. I always make sure to clean under my nails and around my cuticle. I also keep a nail brush in my kit specifically for this purpose, but honestly, you can use a toothbrush. The last step that I like to do is just moisturize my cuticles. I love this little tin of Badger cuticle balm. It feels great, it keeps my cuticles hydrated, and it prevents any hangnails. And that's pretty much it, y'all. That's how I throw with nails. So if you have them and you've wanted to try pottery, I'm proof that you can do it. And I mean, honestly, baddies can throw clay too, right? If you like this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and follow me for more tutorials and tips. Until next time, stay wild.